Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. My name is Adinda Ratu Arzety and I am from A1 Plus class. So today I will explain my answer for ELT curriculum final examinations. So the first one, I will explain my summarize about the material, at least 5 topics about what I learned um, when I learn ELT curriculum. So the first one I will mention, there are a lot of things, but today I will explain only 5. The first one is curriculum in general. The second one is teaching approach. The third one is student needs. The fourth one is communicative language teaching. The fifth one is audio lingual. And now I will explain first what I learned uh, from the ELT curriculum class. The first one is curriculum in general. Curriculum refers to the overall plan and content, and of course, or a program. So, in English language teaching, the curriculum includes the goal, objective, and material used to teach the language. It is very important for us as the future teachers, uh, the curriculum to be designed in a way that meets the needs of the students and prepare them for real life situations where they may need to use English. The second one that I learned from this subject, English language teaching curriculum, is teaching approach. So, a teaching approach, for what I understand, is a set of principles, methods, and techniques used by teacher to facilitate learning. So, there are a lot of different teaching approach used in English language teaching, such as the grammar translations method, audio lingual method, communicative language teaching, and natural approach. It is using Indonesian's government already use this method for English language teaching in their curriculum. So I learned that too in this subject. Each approach has its own strengths and weaknesses, and teachers should choose the approach that best fits their students' needs and learning goals. The third one is student needs. I learned in this English language teaching curriculum subject, it is very important to consider the needs of the students, such as their language proficiency level, their learning style, and their cultural backgrounds. Teachers should design their lessons and activities in a way that the students get the needs of their students and helps them achieve their learning goals or learning objective. The fourth one that I learned in this subject about ELT curriculum is communicative language teaching. Communicative language teaching, like I already mentioned before, is one of the teaching approach. Um, it is emphasized the importance of communications and language learning. So it focuses on developing students' ability to use the language and real life situations rather than just memorizing the vocabulary on the grammar rules. So CLT encourages students to engage in interacting activities such as role play, discussions, or interactive questions and answers in their class to practice their language skills. The last but not least, some topic that I learned is one of the teaching's approach is audio lingual. The audiolingual method is an approach that emphasizes the importance of listening and speaking skills. So, in language learning, it is very based on behaviorist psychology and focuses on the use of drills, repetitions, and pattern practice to develop oral proficiency. So this audiolingual method is very important to and very useful for developing students' oral proficiency and communication skills in the target language or in the goals of achievement they want to learn in their English language learning. So, in summary, English language teaching involved designing a curriculum that meets the needs of the students, choosing a teaching approach that fits the students' needs, the learning goals, the objective, and considering their individual's learning style. So, one of the teaching's approach, like I already mentioned, communicative language teaching and audiolingual method are the two approach that can be used, that can you choose to develop your students' communication skills or oral proficiency. The next one, I will answer the questions from the questions that already given. The first question that I will answer is compared to English language teaching approach or method that have been used in Indonesia and worldwide, and analyze the two teaching approaches or methods and explain in what way they are useful. So I will answer it. In Indonesia, the teaching approach or there are many various English language teaching approach and method used in schools. Um, Range from the kindergarten to the university level. And two notable approaches that have been used in Indonesia and worldwide are the creative language learning, or we can say it CLL, creative language learning. So, creative language learning approach and the English as an international language, or EIL approach. Creative language learning here is an approach that is focused on student perceptions and active engagement in the learning process. So, teachers emphasize the importance of students' interest and learning and encourage them to participate actively in various activities. So, the CLL here aims to provide a fun and engaging learning environment that making and that caters the individual student's needs and preference. So um, it is very it is very close to the student's preference. The next one is English as an international language, or EIL. So EIL here is an approach that emphasizes the use of English as a medium of instructions and communications in international contexts. So it is encourage the students to develop their English language proficiency to facilitate the communications with people from different linguistic backgrounds. The EIL here approach also promotes cultural awareness and understanding of the diverse varieties of the English. So, if you want to compare, both approaches have their benefits and can be useful in different contexts. So, the CLL, or Creative Language Learning approach, is particularly useful for students who struggles with motivations and engagement in language learning. So, and then the English as international language also have the benefits, and it owns beneficial for the students who aim to communicate with people from diverse linguistic backgrounds, as it encourage the students to use English as a medium of communication in a formal way, and it promotes the cultural awareness that they will consider the awareness of the cultural. And then in the conclusions for this question is the creative language learning CLL in English as an international language, or we can say EIL approaches are useful in Indonesia and worldwide as they cater to different. Now I will answer the next question is the question C. Grammar translations and audiolingual method were applied in teaching English in Indonesia up to early 1980s. So how are these two methods different and similar from each other in terms of the strategies teachers use in the classrooms, or and add explanation in what situation they are useful. So the first one, I will explain about the grammar translations method and the audiolingual method are the two historical approaches that were used in teaching English in Indonesia up to the early 1980s. So these methods differ in their strategies and techniques used in the classroom. So grammar translations method strategies. This method focuses on the teachings of grammar rules and the translations of texts from the target language to the native language. So it relies heavily on rote memorizations of vocabulary and rules, and students engage in the translation activities and written exercises. Sorry. The next one is their usefulness. So the usefulness of this method, the grammar translations method, can be useful in the developing students' reading and writing skills, as well as their understanding of grammar rules and vocabulary. It is also helpful for students who need to learn a foreign language for academic or scholarly purposes, such as reading literatures or historical documents in the original language. So it is very useful for the students who want to learn for the scholarly purposes. The next one is audiolingual method. So audiolingual method strategies is the it's a method that emphasizes the importance of the listening and speaking skill in language learning. It is based on behavioral psychology and focus on the use of drills, repetitions, and patterns practiced to develop the oral proficiency. So the usefulness of this method is for developing students' oral proficiency and communication skills in the target language. It is particularly effective for students who need to use the language in practical everyday situations, such as in business or travel. In summary, the grammar translation method and the audiolingual method differ in their focus on grammar and translations versus listening and speaking skills. So the grammar translations method is useful for academic purpose and developing reading and writing skills, while the other method, the audiolingual method, is very effective for developing oral proficiency and practical communication skills. The next question that I will answer is the questions about the Indonesia curriculum has undergone several changes in 1975, 1984, and 1994. So this is the comparison of this curriculum. So I will explain the comparison between these three curriculum. The first one is 1975 curriculum. So this curriculum was implemented after the 1973 oil crisis and focused on self-reliance and the development of basic industry. So this curriculum emphasized the formations of an Indonesian identity and equal status with other nations. So the curriculum was still influenced by the Dutch education system as Indonesia was fighting for independence at the time. So the next curriculum is the 1984 curriculum. Um, it can be inferred that this curriculum was an improvement to the 1975 curriculum. As Indonesia continued to develop and adapt its education system, it emphasized a process-school approach with which aimed to teach students how to learn. This was reflected in the implementations of the Cara Belajar Siswa Aktif or CBSA model, which focused on active student learning. So additionally, the 1984 curriculum introduced a credit system for high school students to complete their studies. The focus on process skills and active students learning marked a shift in the educational approach in Indonesia. So the curriculum aimed to develop students' abilities to learn independently and apply their knowledge in practical settings. Um, the third one, the last curriculum that I will explain, is 1994 curriculum. So the 1994 curriculum was the last one before the introductions of the 2004 curriculum. It was designed to establish certain levels of the competence for students after completing a certain level of education. The curriculum aimed to produce students with general competencies and basic competencies in various subjects. So, comparing these curricula, it is very difficult to determine which one is the best, as the best curriculum depends on the specific context and goals of the education system. But, however, in my opinion, the best curriculum is 1984 because it focused more on students' competencies. It have CBSA, Cara Belajar Siswa Aktif, it have its own program that more focus on the students rather than this their achievement, but on the process too. So I will uh, tell you that my answer for these questions is the 1984 curriculum is the best curriculum than the two others because it has owned specifications for its curriculum because it aimed to focus and emphasize the importance of student skills and how they learn and how their activeness influence the results of their studies. So I think that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I think that's all for the explanations for my final examinations project. Thank